Ladies and gentlemen, so yesterday, playing a bit of Alliance War, man, I got absolutely fucking ruined, ladies and gentlemen. I got destroyed, I got wrecked, I just was not on the ball yesterday, and I got taken down by this 180,000 5-star, fully maxed out Corvus on counter tactics, stun immunity, and also breakthrough as well. So, you know, if he hits into your block, insane amounts of damage there. And I was playing with Starknart Spider-Man, and I just got clipped and wrecked like a couple of times in a row, man, and I got ruined. I got absolutely destroyed by this Corvus, and it was such a terrible feeling. And at that point, man, I just started spouting off on Twitter. I was like, fuck this, man, I'm done with Alliance War. I cannot be asked for this stress. I'm just fucking so done with it. And I was so angry. I was so fucking angry yesterday, and I wanted to really talk about why Alliance War is really stressful at the moment. And since the introduction of Alliance War seasons, why I've seen so many players that used to play in the top tier just go, fuck this shit, man, and either walk away from the game or go very casual. Because I'm very pro, and I like competitiveness in video games. I think competition is a very important element that should be utilized, but I think the setup of Alliance War is incredibly toxic when it goes wrong, and can leave players very often when it goes wrong with this fuck this shit, man, I'm done. It's completely not worth it, just because there is such a long time period where if you make mistakes, that those mistakes apply for, being the whole entire Alliance War season. And the more and more you climb up the ladder, the more and more individual mistakes matter. And it's not in the case of other competitive games. So if we look at like top esports games, for example, and again, Marvel Contest of Champions, it isn't an esport, but there's definitely something to analyze and learn from the perspective of top esports games. So if we look at stuff like, for example, League of Legends, Hearthstone, Overwatch, Dota 2, Fortnite, PUBG to a certain extent as well, you know, all of these games that are very fun, very competitive, constant PvP stuff, what do they all have in common? The theme is that you can pick yourself up immediately and get back into the action. You can queue for another match, you get completely wrecked, okay, you know, you have 20 minutes of getting absolutely ruined, you're like, okay, well, I've learned from this, I can pick myself up and go back in again. But with the Alliance War structure in Marvel Contest of Champions, it's a 48-hour window from start to finish for one single Alliance War, and then 4 weeks, so 28 days a month for the full spectrum of an Alliance War season. So, you know, let's say yesterday I died in Alliance War, man. I've put deaths, we've lost because of those deaths. You know, 29 other people are like, oh, fuck you, Seatin, man, you gotta get good at the video game. You're looking in line chat, and everybody's like, oh, man, why'd you die, son? Why'd you die? And then not only that, man, but you also have to heal up as well. You have to spend a ridiculous amount on potions, a ridiculous amount of resources. And if, you know, I'm looking at healing up my fully maxed out boosted Starknart Spider-Man because I'm a scrub, you know, I need like 5 of these level 4 health potions, and how many units is that? That's like 500, man. That's the equivalent to about, you know, $10-15. It's a complete bloody rip-off, and that's one of the huge things that's very annoying about Alliance War is the price associated with everything, man. And obviously in the top tiers as well, you're expected to fully boost up, which is kind of, you know, additional cost on top of that as well. But it kind of hones back to that point of, like, I die on Corvus, right? I make a mistake. We're all human. We all make mistakes. It happens. But then that mistake, it lingers. It lingers, ladies and gentlemen. For the next 48 hours, I'm feeling like shit. I'm feeling like the worst player in the world. I'm feeling like I've let the team down. And it's just such a horrible feeling, because not only does it impact for that war as a whole as well, but also because you've taken the loss, it's knocked you down again for the entire season and affects the rank of your entire alliance as well. So you're, you know, maybe slightly off 5 minutes has completely ruined potentially a ranking for the season. And yesterday we've had like a pretty crappy season, man, because we missed out. We didn't get matched up one time, so we're already a full Alliance War behind as well. And it just is such a negative feeling, man, when you do not have the ability to pick yourself back up again, say, okay, you know, I had a bit of a crappy run there, I've learnt from this mistake, but guess what? what, we can try again, we can go in again, because there's no redos. It's you've taken that death, you've made that mistake is with you for the rest of the war, and also the rest of the season, which when players go into, you know, matchups with all that stuff in mind, it creates such a huge level of pressure and stress that if you mess up, you fucked it up for yourself, you fucked it up for everyone, there's no quick comeback, and it's just a really, really sharp feeling. And I know some of you, you know, you might be perfect players, you might not empathize with kind of the feelings that I've felt, you know, in like the last Alliance War and Alliance Wars in previous seasons, but it fucking stings, man. It really, really stings, because you're like, there's nothing I can do about this to try and salvage this. You know, I have to spend like you know, a good $15-20 on additional boost and health potions just to have one more run in at this certain boss, and it just feels so damn crap. So I'm for, like, I really, really want to see good level competition in Marvel Contest of Champions, because I think the game has a huge amount of potential for it, but I feel like the Alliance War system at the moment is so incredibly toxic. It's just decaying players left, right, and center, man. I have never seen top-tier Alliance turnover like I have now, because it's so stressful. There is so much pressure on you playing perfectly every single matchup, or you're going to die and negatively impact the Alliance majorly. In my view, if you're developing a game that you want longevity to, you want it to last for years, and that's the plan with Marvel Contest of Champions. They want the game to keep on going on and on throughout the Marvel universe, and I'd love that. There's nothing more than I'd like a long-term future for Marvel Contest of Champions. But my personal belief is when you create this scenario where players are so incredibly under so much pressure, under so much stress, and when they mess up, which they will, because everybody is a fucking human, man, we all have our off days, just creates such an overwhelmingly negative experience of fuck this game, I'm done, I'm gonna walk away. And we've seen so many people walk away. Like, I cannot believe the amount of people that this time last year were playing at the top tier of Alliance War and have since gone, you know, fuck it, man, I can't be asked to keep up with the stress, the pressure, the spending. Is just really, really detrimental, and I feel like it's so damaging. And also with the introduction of map 6 increased difficulty and map 7 increased difficulty, putting even more stress on alliances now is probably the worst thing you can do. Top alliances are already cracking, they're toppling all over the place, man. We're seeing so much fall off, and I feel like it's gonna get worse and worse as the pressure on alliance-based, team-based content continues to grow in these formats where you can't have a quick recovery, it's very, very expensive to recover. And I feel like we're really going to see it toward the start of the next year. I may be completely incorrect on that, but I feel like what we've already seen this year is just one of the biggest drop-offs that we've ever seen in kind of a 9-month period of top-tier Alliance War players, again, either walking away from the game or going, fuck this, I just want to play super casually, taking their playing down, taking their spending down, in scenarios where those players would have been happy to play and spend if the content wasn't so ludicrously under pressure. And again, I do think having competitive content and challenging content is incredibly important to the game. But I think in an alliance-based structure where there's 30 people, or, you know, 29 other people as well, to rely on to get no deaths and play perfectly, and then you don't have the ability to quickly recover from any mistakes made, and that those consequences linger for a very, very long time, is incredibly detrimental to the enjoyment and also the well-being of a lot of players at the top, man. Because I've just felt like such negative emotions when I've had a really, really shit time. And, you know, you can disregard those emotions if you want, but they're valid, man. And I know I'm not the only person feeling this stuff when it comes to like a bad day in Alliance War. So I do think moving forward, Marvel Contest of Champions, I think it should have competitive content. I would love to see that. Nothing would please me more. But I do think they need to look at different solutions where it's scaled down to smaller groups of people and in a much more quicker pace. Again, I feel like you could make Alliance War significantly more enjoyable, like 50 times more enjoyable if you did scale it down to like 30-minute timers and have like 5v5 or 10v10, and it was kind of a big PvP event that was fairly real-time there, and you could just keep on, you know, queuing and queuing and queuing and doing some interesting stuff there. Or maybe you only had a certain amount of entries per week and you had to, you know, figure out a way to do it. But I think what I'm getting at is I don't really have the solution for kind of better team-based content. But the current system is broken, in my opinion. It's driving people away. It's creating a very, very negative experience for a lot of players that is pushing them away from playing more and pushing them away from spending more. And I think there's better stuff that Marvel Contest of Champions can do to deliver a good level of challenge, a good level of competitiveness without putting this insane amount of stress and pressure on the people that love playing this game the most. Overall, I think the biggest problem is Alliance War Seasons. Alliance War Seasons are such a long time for a massive amount of stress, and there are ways that you could change the current system if Alliance War Seasons were removed and their rewards were instead redistributed to the average Alliance War win and loss. I think that would go a long way to alleviating some of the stress and incredible negative experience that comes with a bad Alliance War at the moment. I think that would be probably the best short-term solution for Alliance War moving forward, because I think the system of seasons, man, it's a little bit too much, in my opinion. It's a little bit too much, and I think there's still some very interesting stuff that they could do by abolishing the whole season structure and, again, kind of redistributing those rewards and figuring out an interesting way to tie them to like leaderboards and rating as it works in real time as well. So you still have the blubbery whales, they're still competing, they're still spending, there's just less of a incredibly negative feeling when you lose an Alliance War. So that might help to mitigate the problem, but again, I would like to see faster based competitive PvP Alliance War, Alliance Quest structure in smaller group scales, because relying on 29 other people again is an absolutely huge mission there, and very, very difficult for a lot of people to manage and sustain in a period where we are having the highest player turnover that we've ever had in the endgame of Marvel Contest of Champions. So yeah, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you think, ladies and gentlemen, in the comments section below, because Alliance War is just kind of become a stressful pay-to-win clown fiesta that is really, really dragging a lot of the Marvel Contest of Champions community down when it comes to the end game. But those are just my thoughts, my opinion, my perspective. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. But ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for watching. Take care, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic day.